Welcome to the Iris Brush Set Part 2. In this tutorial, we'll take a look at some of the little extra items that you can add to your iris to create interesting compositions and just a little bit more magic. Learn to add things like leaf decor, butterflies, little dewdrops or water droplets, and sparkles. So if you would like to add a little bit of leaf decor and get away from just strictly using the iris brushes, you can see here I added some decorative leaves to create a composition. These decorative leaves are great because they work great for wreaths and bouquets. You can add them with the iris leaves or you can leave them without. They're just for decoration. Alright, so the leaf decor brushes are a lot like the iris brush. You're going to be brushing it. I'm going to go ahead and get two colors. I'll get a very dark green and then maybe a lime green. Let's try that one first. Alright, so it just takes a light, swift stroke. And the great thing about these brushes is that you can curve them. So later, if you want to create like a little wreath or something, you can do that. You can, now to a certain point they'll start to fall apart if you curve them too much, but that's just part of the way the program works. So get a feel for, what looks nice, and you can try different sizes and get some really interesting effects going on here. Whoa, that's really tiny. Sometimes I'll actually go in and touch them up a little bit and add a little bit of different colors and all kinds of things. You don't have to stick with blue and green. I mean, you could have some interesting, like purple leaves going on. So just have fun and create a creative composition of your own. And then as another bonus, you can use butterflies and add butterflies to your compositions. I have butterfly with legs and butterfly without. I don't know, I just decided sometimes it looks great to have the legs and sometimes it doesn't. So I just gave you two brushes to play with. They're the same butterfly, but one with legs, one without. So let's give them a shot, and they are a two-color stamp, so you will have to get two colors. I went ahead and created a separate layer for them because later you could add a clipping mask and you could, push it up from 2 colors to 4 colors or as many as you want. The butterflies are just delightful to work with. So let's take a look. Okay, butterfly with legs or without legs, your choice. I think I'll try with the legs. Why not? We'll do that. And it's a 2-color stamp, so you need to pick 2 colors. And I could just start with something simple like maybe, let's see, a deep blue shading with a little bit of pink. I don't know. We'll see. Wait. There we go. Let's try. Okay, let's try maybe a purple for the shading and maybe a yellow, light yellow or something. Bam. There we go. That's a great starting place for my butterfly. I mean, it's great as it is, but then what you can do is go in here and your choice. You could either select Alpha Lock and paint right on it, or you could create another layer on top and turn it into a clipping mask, and that way you don't destroy the butterfly underneath it if you don't like the coloring that you're doing. So once I have this clipping mask, and I'll just name it clipping mask. Okay. All right, so now I have a clipping mask, and I can go in here and just grab any of my favorite brushes from what Procreate gives you. I tend to like the airbrushes, but sometimes I'll use the inking or the sketching. Sometimes I'll use paint because I want to add some texture. So you can go ahead and just grab your favorite brush and add extra color in here. So let's say I want to add maybe some orange tones. Let's try that. And I'm using the soft brush. Okay. Right, and then maybe I'll add a little bit of magenta over here. Whoops, I'm being really sloppy because I just want to do it quickly so you can later use your own creativity. But there we go, there's some color. I'm going to add a little bit deeper tone in here. And maybe even draw some lines. Ooh. I mean, I could do all kinds of things. I could make little curly cues and more dots, whatever you want. And then, if you have it on a clipping mask, you can do some fun things like change the transparency of those colors you just created, or try some of the different blending modes and check out how it affects your butterfly. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Let's see. It's pin light, linear light. Ooh, wow. So there you go. Have fun with those butterflies, and use your own creativity and give them more color with a clipping mask. Try it out. So let's take a look at how to create realistic water droplets and little sort of fantasy bubbles that you can add to your compositions. So it's the droplet brush right here, or actually it's a one color stamp, and it's just to get you started, and then you need to finish it out. There was no way I could make the droplet just to stamp it. And so this is a starting place for you, and then this is great because it's going to allow you to use your own creativity to make these droplets, and that's something I want to, I want to help lift you up, get you going, but I don't want to take away all your creativity. So here's a great opportunity. Okay, so here's the droplet. All right, so if you can see, here's the finished out droplets. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer here. Okay, so I have a droplet layer. And if I just go and get the droplet brush, you want to make sure if it's going to go against a background, you want to pick the color of, like, let's say we have the purple leaf. If it's the deep purple, then I'm going to pick a lighter purple. If it's the light purple, I'm going to pick a deeper purple for my one color drop brush. Oops. And the same here, like if it's going to be on the orange flower, then if it's going to be in the deep area, I'm going to pick a lighter orange. And if it's in the lighter area, I'm gonna pick the deeper orange, okay? So that it has something, it has contrast to kind of help bring it out. Let's take a look at an example here. Okay, so I have my droplet layer, and I want to put a drop into the deep area. So I'm going to pick a light area, a hold, and put it in there. And I get my droplet brush, and I'll make it fairly large just so you can see it. There we go. Now it shows up. Now I'm going to put a droplet on this side right here in the light area. So I'm going to select and a little dark purple and stick it up there, and now use my brush here so that you can see it. Now I suppose you could use these as water droplets if you want, but I'm going to finish them out and make them even more realistic. Alright, so here we go. I've got my droplet, and I'm going to just go ahead and turn on, what do I want? Alpha layer? We'll try alpha lock. Okay, so I have alpha lock, and I'm going to put just white in here. And then you can go and get your favorite sort of drawing brush. For me, it's the soft airbrush that Procreate gives you. And let's see, I'm going to turn the opacity down a little bit. And I'm going to pick one side where the droplet's getting hit by the light. I want it to be a little lighter than that. There we go. Okay, so this is my side that's getting hit by the light, and that's the dark side. Droplets refract the light, so it's kind of an interesting thing to look at. And then I'm going to pick this side for the light here too. Okay, so there's the light. Now remember, I turned this to alpha lock so that when I paint the white on top, it's just going to stay within the bubble. And now I'm going to add a little highlight on the opposite side of the light. And for that, I'm going to have to add, let's see, another, well, I either have to take it off, I either have to take it off of alpha lock, or I have to add a layer on top. Your choice. Whatever helps you remember. So maybe I'll add a separate layer here. And then there, I'm using the same brush. I'm going to move it up to full opacity, that soft airbrush, and make a little dot right there. And a little dot right there. Alright, so now I can merge these two layers. I'll just click that top layer and say merge down. But there we go. It looks pretty amazing. It's like that's it. You know, spray one side, add a little drop there. And now it's starting to look like a transparent. And it literally is transparent. I made it the single brush so it could be transparent, and then you have to add the reflective qualities that make it really look real. Okay, so then if you want to change, like let's say I want to change this one into more of a droplet shape. Some droplets are round, but some start to change a little bit and get oval and droplet looking. So let's do that. All right, so let's see, I want to select this droplet. I'm going to go to the select tool, and I'll just use the freehand one and grab it there. And then I can go to the little arrow, which is the transformation tool, And I could pick like distort or warp. Let's try distort first. And see, it's starting to become more of an oval droplet that's maybe, going with the curve of the flower. And that looks even more realistic. And then if I want it to, kind of warp it a little, make it like a drip that's actually dripping off, I could do that. I don't really like that one. I think I like the distort, but I've done it both ways. Distort and warp is going to give you a lot of flexibility to create the kind of droplet that you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to undo these. Whoops, not undo, but get out of them. And there we go. I've got a droplet that's kind of going with the shape of the flower, and then I'm seeing from the side here, it's starting to look a little bit more realistic. It's kind of big, but I could always make it smaller. You can make a whole bunch of these if you want. And then as far as this one goes over here, I mean, these create some really fun, just sort of decorative, let's see, I'm going to go to transform, wait, I'll circle it, go to transform, uniform. This one I'll keep round, let's say. And maybe this is, a little fairy patch where these like transparent magical bubbles are welling up from my flowers. I hope that you just take these and run with them, and I hope they spark your imagination of little scenarios that you want to create. And last but not least, I have some little sparkle stars to add that little extra magic if you would like. All right, so here's my sparkle stars, and it's a one-color brush. All right, and I created a separate layer just for those sparkles. And let's see, I think I'll pick white to start and just check it out. And I could, have full opacity if I want. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. I could add a little bit of light color to it. Maybe I'll put a little bit of a purple in there. Okay, so there you go. Please have fun, use your own creativity, and share with me if you want on Instagram. It's at Eris Klein on Instagram. I'd be happy to see the beautiful things that you come up with.